Welcome to Herman's Hot Takes, summary of 81 through 90. I'm coming to you from my cozy corner in my classroom today. All right, so 81 through 90 really becomes Pena and Dennis's story. So Dennis goes to Pena. He's like, I saw something bad. It's not good. Pena listens to his story, and we learn a little bit more than we did when we initially read the story. We learned that this time Dennis says that towards the end of his encounter with Thomas in the room, when Thomas was sleepwalking, Thomas says, Flag did it, Flag did it. And so Dennis tells Pena, hey, Flag did it. And Pena's like, crap, I kind of knew that. Like, I kind of figured that out myself, but I was hoping it wasn't because I put this innocent kid up in a needle, up in the tower. So they somewhat make a plan. We're not sure about the plan as readers. I don't think they're sure about the plan they're making. They're just like, we got to do something. And when we leave off, Dennis is hanging out in an abandoned farmhouse waiting for somebody. We think we foreshadowed, spoiler alert, to Ben is coming. We'll get to that. Ben's dad is coming to Dennis. And Naomi, who we meet in this chapter, is coming to Dennis. And Pena and Arlen, his servant, who have one of the best relationships in this book. Come on, this side relationship that King describes between these two, it's funny and it's heartwarming, the relationship he has with this servant and how they know each other so well. I hope you're catching some of their interactions. It's just so sweet. They are heading north to find Ben's dad and the other rebels. And this is where we get introduced to Naomi. I think it's Rieschel's is how I would say it. And her family. This is a family that is considered loyal because they pay their taxes, but really they're helping the rebels. So we're going to learn more about them. Towards the end, we have a really short chapter where we jump to Peter. And Peter is still up in the tower making his rope, and we find out the rope is 30 feet short. So if he climbed down it, if it held, he would still have to jump 30 feet. And he's like, I'm gonna break my legs. Like 30 feet is a long way. But his intuition, his conscience, everything in him is screaming, you gotta go tonight, you gotta go tonight. And we're gonna talk about how that's a theme in this section, people's conscience and intuition. And so this is a part of it with Peter. He's like, I gotta go tonight. Like something's telling me, my gut is telling me, I gotta get out of here tonight. So that's the plan. He's going that night. And then Stephen King writes one of his famous spoilers at the end of this section with Peter, and he says, something would change his mind. We don't know what is gonna change his mind, but something's gonna change his mind. He's not gonna jump that night. All right, so that's your quick summary. Other things to know, we got a weather report, because weather is symbols. So when Dennis arrives at Pena's house, there's a cold wind screaming outside. The winter wind is moaning and whined. Oh, so still dark, still evil with the weather. But the next day, after they've made the plan, after they've decided we're going to help Peter, we're going to do this thing, we're going to right this wrong, it's cold and bright. Bright is the word King uses. It's bright. And the weather kept clear as Arlen and Pena traveled north, kept clear. So we got clear and bright for the weather. Once good is coming, the weather kind of follows suit. Some fairy, our standard fairy tale tropes, the word hope is thrown in with Pena. Flag being pure evil again. Remember, a fairy tale trope is evil is bad. Like there's no redeeming to the evil. And Flag here is, he is evil. I don't know if you caught this, but I did. Instead of killing Pena, which everybody thinks Flag was going to do, he leaves him alive because Flag knows it is worse for Pena to live in a world and watch the kingdom just fall to this evil and know that he imprisoned an innocent man than it is just to kill him. Like that is the bigger torture for Pena. Like Pena probably would like to die instead of having to live this way. And Flag is so evil that he knows that. He's like, I'm not going to kill you. I'm going to torture you. And this is how he tortures him. We got a figurative language alert. Dennis is on page 252. Dennis is describing the room that he was in with Thomas when they looked through Niner's eyes. And he says, it smelled of secrets which had gone rancid like milk spilled in the dark. Think about that. That's so good. Secrets that smell like rancid milk. Like when you have a secret and it's a horrible, horrible secret, that it can smell like sour, gross milk. Stephen King, chef's kiss with that one. We got some foreshadowing. There's a random question that Pena asked Dennis about the drainage pipe in the castle. I mean, why are we putting that in there? I think it's going to come into play. I'm not 100% sure, but why are we talking about drainage pipes? All right, the whole theme in this one is your conscience and like how guilt affects people. And Pena really had that guilt weigh on him. He's aged, his hair is kind of falling out. He's really gaunt. I'm not gaunt. I wish I gaunt. Super skinny and sickly looking. And that's the weight of the guilt. How does guilt affect people? It has affected him physically and a little mentally. He talks about, you know, how people say, oh, the conscience is that little voice in your head. His voice in his head is literally laughing at him. He says the voice in my head is laughing at me. It's saying I'm too proudful, I screwed up. The irony for him is, and he talks about this over and over, he is going to have to commit a crime. He's going to have to do something illegal to right this wrong. And his whole life has been about following the law. The law is the number one. He only follows the law. Sorry, I had to move. Someone came in the classroom. I'm almost finished though. So the irony for Pena is he has to do something illegal to right this wrong, to fix this injustice. And like I said, he spent his whole life fighting to keep, follow the laws and do what is right. And now he's got to break a law to do what is right. And he does not, it doesn't escape him the irony of this. He realizes this. And his voice in his head is laughing at him because he has to do this stuff. There's also one point, just throwing it out there. Pena asked Dennis a question. He says, I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to tell me the truth. And that's going to decide what we do. And then Stephen King doesn't tell us what the question is. We don't know what question he asked Dennis. I'm like, what the heck? I want to know what he asked him. I was kind of mad. I was like, no, tell us the question. So I was super mad about that. All right, so that's your chapters 81 through 90. I'll be back next time with 91 through 100. We're at 100. All right, bye.